Welcome to another episode of Unraveling Intellectual Property with Michael Stein. Today, I am very happy and fortunate to have Dan O'Connell, Vice President, Head of Marketing, U.S. Marketing for ITF Therapeutics. ITF Therapeutics is a U.S.-based rare disease division of Pharmaco, SPA, founded in 1938, and it's a private global pharmaceutical company that has led successful development of many innovative therapeutic products, approved for use in patients around the world. It operates in more than 90 countries on 5 continents and continues to advance promising research to address unmet medical needs in a wide range of therapeutic areas. Dan is a sales and commercial leader with broad biopharma experience and specialty in rare disease markets. He has developed and executed brand strategies supporting U.S. and international product launches. Prior to ITF Therapeutics, Dan held positions of increasing responsibility at Biogen, most recently serving as Senior Director, Global MS Franchise Lead, where he led global franchise marketing and long-range commercial disease strategy. I actually have a lot more about you, Dan, but I actually want to hear what you have to say, so we'll skip some of it. Last thing, you've earned a BS in Business Administration from University of Rhode Island and an MBA from Boston College Carroll School of Management. So welcome. Why don't you tell us a little bit that I might not have covered, or introduce yourself?
Yeah, so thank you for having me, Michael. This is exciting to be on. This is my first podcast, so be gentle. So I spent the bulk of my career in the pharmaceutical biotech space, kind of becoming increasingly more focused on rare disease as a therapeutic category. Rare disease is kind of a catch-all term, right? There's a lot of different rare disease, some more rare than others. I started off in a broad primary care function at Pfizer Pharmaceuticals, and from there went to Genzyme, then Biogen, then now at ITF Therapeutics. I found a lot of gratification in working with the neuromuscular disease space, most notably with a disease called spinal muscular atrophy, or SMA, where when I was at Biogen, and then as of now, I work in the Duchenne muscular dystrophy space, which is an X chromosome linked neuromuscular disease that focuses only on boys, or primarily on boys, and it's a devastating disease. So we're happy to help in any way we can.
As I've mentioned, and you mentioned, you're involved in the branding and marketing. I would imagine with the internet and everything, strategies have changed.
Sure.
Yes, in the last 10, even the last 5 years, how has your job, your role there, how has it changed?
Yeah, so the core of marketing is, really based this positioning, right? So how do you determine what your position, where you want to play, with whom, what's your price, what's your promotional mix? Much of that stays the same, kind of the core, tenets of it. However, within that, you're going to have different focuses, right? So when you think about promotion, for example, we're a regulated industry. So everything we do, everything we say has to be based on data, has to be based on a phase 3 completed clinical trial. So in our case, our trial is called EPIDUS, which was published a little over a year ago in the Lancet Neurology, and everything we do, that's the basis of our promotional label from the FDA, which is the basis for all of our promotional materials. So if we have a website, if we have even just a simple brochure, all of that has to be rooted in that data. So in some ways, we do have kind of like clear guidelines and lanes in which we can play in. But I think where things have changed pretty dramatically, especially in the last 10 years, is this shift from in-person, face-to-face promotion to much heavily oriented towards non-personal promotion. So omni-channel marketing. So, I mean, everyone experiences that every day. So when you go online and you are looking for a recipe for apple pie, all of a sudden 2 days later, you're being inundated with advertisements from Betty Crocker, right? So That's an example of promotional digital marketing, non-personal promotion. So we, of course, like every other industry, are becoming more and more heavy in that space. And the other aspect of it, I would say, is AI, and that becomes very meaningful when you think about how we buy and place media investments. So media could be, a television advertisement, it could be, radio advertisement. More and more nowadays, though, it's digital, it's online, it's on TikTok, it's on Facebook, it's on Instagram, and how you pay for and select those it's a competitive bidding process. So there's an entire strategy and a quantifiable nature to it that AI helps us kind of optimize in many ways.
Do you have to keep up with the kind of the technology of the marketing and the
Yeah.
AI yourself?
Um, I would not say I'm able to keep up. I'm very fortunate that I have a really good team that can keep up with it. My role as the leader of the group is to kind of make sure they have the resources they need to be successful. So the I have people on my team who are very good at it. We also work with specific dedicated agencies who are experts in this space in a way that we can never be, right? So we have a media agency that helps us to focus on different ways in which to increase our digital presence.
I'm not sure if you only handle the US marketing, but I believe I read that ITF or the parent company is involved in 90 different countries. Is the marketing strategy, I can't imagine it's the same in all these countries.
Yeah, so for my role at ITF, I'm focused on the US for the time being because that's the role. But in previous roles, I worked in what we call global marketing. And in global marketing, the idea is you want to have one kind of consistent message and strategic focus for the world, right? So even if it's Azerbaijan or Switzerland or the United States, the overall kind of look, feel of the brand should be the same, should be consistent. The messaging, the strategic messaging around it should be fairly consistent or as consistent as possible, right? So you may have different labels in different markets, but their core kind of reasons to believe in a brand should be the same market to market.
I know, and maybe not in the pharmaceutical industry, I remember, and I'm no marketing expert, that years ago, I believe Chevy was advertising the Nova in
Yeah.
Spanish-speaking countries, and
Yep.
Nova means no go. So
Yep.
maybe you need to keep a little bit aware of not
Yeah.
using something
For
derogatory
sure.
or whatever.
Yeah, and that's the best example, and we learned about that one in business school. That is definitely my favorite example, but yeah, there's a multicultural awareness, right, or a global awareness of, even certain, you probably know most brands for pharmaceutical or biotech product are kind of the brand name is essentially made up. It's a collection of letters, may have some connection to the mechanism of action or the disease, but in general, it's a made up word. However, what we consider to be a made up word in other countries might actually have a specific meaning, and then maybe not always a great meaning. In the case of Nova, meaning no go. There's other examples where it's been a swear word in other markets. So yeah.
I think in Japan, because I go there a lot, I think Pocari Sweat for a drink, and it might not work quite as well here.
Yeah, exactly. Or
Um,
even beyond that, like we think about, I worked on a therapy that part of the messaging around it was to mitigate um, some of the side effects was to take it with a scoop of peanut butter. Well, in Japan, they don't have peanut butter. It's not something they have. So you would take it with a scoop of miso paste. So kind of being aware of the cultural differences across markets is important for sure from a global point of view.
Very interesting point. All right, so let's take a break here, and we'll be back in a moment with part two of speaking with Dan O'Connell of ITF Therapeutics.